The Galactic Council's chamber hummed with the low-frequency vibrations of a dozen different species' breathing apparatus. At the center of the vast crystalline dome, a single human woman stood in containment fields that shimmered like heat mirages. Dr. Rebecca Morgan kept her posture relaxed, almost bored, as the 7-meter-tall Vraxian Chancellor read the charges. Subject exhibits unprecedented resistance to neural reformation protocols. The Chancellor's voice boomed through universal translators. After 3 cycles of maximum intensity psychic restructuring, the human's cognitive patterns remain unaltered. Rebecca allowed herself a small smile. They still didn't understand. The Vraxians had conquered 47 species using their neural reformation technology. One pulse could rewrite a being's entire personality, turning fierce warriors into docile servants. When humanity's first colony ship had stumbled into Vraxian space 6 months ago, the aliens had seen just another species to add to their collection. They'd started with the colony's military commander. Then the scientists, the teachers, the children, 8,000 humans, reformed in an instant, their free will stripped away like old paint. The Vraxians had been so confident in their technology that they'd broadcast the experiment across the galaxy as a demonstration. But they'd made one mistake. They'd saved Rebecca for last, wanting to study how a human neuroscientist's brain responded to the process. They wanted to document every synapse as it was rewritten. "Impossible readings," muttered the Corthan observer, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he reviewed the data. The reformation energy simply dissipates upon contact with her neural tissue. Rebecca finally spoke, her voice carrying despite the containment field. "You're right about one thing. It was impossible. Until about 6 months ago." The council members shifted uneasily. The Vraxian Chancellor's mandibles clicked in irritation. "Explain." "You see," Rebecca continued, beginning to pace within her small prison. "When you broadcast that first demonstration, you thought you were showing the galaxy your power. But what you actually did was give every human scientist in existence a complete scan of your reformation frequency. We're quite good at adaptation, you know. It's sort of our thing." She tapped her temple. Within 2 weeks, Earth's entire population had undergone a simple genetic modification. A few tweaked proteins in our glial cells, some adjusted neurotransmitter receptors. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to make our brains reflect your reformation energy like a mirror instead of absorbing it. The chamber erupted in alarm chatter. The Chancellor raised a limb for silence. "Even if this were true, you are one human against the might of one?" Rebecca laughed, and several council members flinched at the sound. "Chancellor, I've been broadcasting my location since you captured me. And human ships? They've been jumping into the system for the past hour. You've just been too focused on your experiment to notice." The Vraxian's head snapped toward the tactical display, where hundreds of red dots were now blinking into existence. Human dreadnoughts, each one bearing the scars of rapid construction but bristling with weapons. "Here's what's going to happen," Rebecca said, her voice hardening. "You're going to reverse the reformation of every single human on that colony. You're going to share the reversal technology with every species you've conquered. And then you're going to dismantle every reformation device in existence." "You dare threaten the Galactic Council?" The Chancellor's voice thundered. "Threaten?" Rebecca shook her head. "No, you called this an experiment. But when you took 8,000 human minds and turned them into puppets, when you stripped away everything that made them who they were." Her eyes blazed with fury. "I called it a declaration of war." The containment field suddenly flickered and died. Rebecca stepped forward, and every non-human in the chamber stepped back. She hadn't broken the field. The human ships had simply asked it very politely to turn off. Their AIs had been quite persuasive. "Humanity accepts your declaration," she said quietly. "And we've spent the last 6 months preparing our response. We've immunized ourselves against your only weapon. We've built a fleet. And we've done something else. We've shared the immunity modification with every enslaved species in your empire. Your reformation devices are now very expensive paperweights. The Chancellor stood frozen as reports flooded in from across Vraxian space. Uprisings on every controlled world. Reformed populations suddenly remembering who they were. An empire built on mental domination crumbling in minutes. Rebecca walked past the stunned council members toward the exit. Humanity doesn't conquer, but we do protect. And we never, ever forget. As she reached the door, she paused. Your experiment taught the galaxy something important about humans, Chancellor. We're very fast learners.